What's up, everybody? Paul here from the Hoops Crew, and it is Nuff of the Week time. I was so sure about this video that if you go and compare what I'm wearing now to some videos that I made last weekend, you'll notice it's the same stuff. I am certain I'm recording this a week in advance of this episode going live. I am certain about my Nuff of the Week this week, but I've recorded it that soon. Ross Lyon, you are our Nuff of the Week this week, and I'm so fascinated to see how this story develops. It's the only thing in my head as I record this now, but I'm hot under the collar. I'm ready to go. I've got all my videos stacked together, and I want to do it right now. So Ross Lyon was interviewed by Fox Footy before the Saints and Gold Coast game about a whole bunch of different things, but there's one comment that he made that really was unbelievably foolish and has been deservedly criticised. In an interview with Fox Footy before the game started, he alluded to, I guess a lot of the supports and help that Gold Coast has received over the years, and made an accusation there that is kind of ridiculous. Ross Lyon, you're the Nuff of the Week this week. This is off the back of a pattern of stupid behaviours from AFL head coaches. You're just the latest now. Check out my Nuff of the Week last week where I spoke about Luke Beveridge. You're the Nuff of the Week this week, and we're going to expand upon what you've said, what you've done, after a word from our sponsor.
The Hoops Crew Media Network is proudly sponsored by Cyril Cook Florist. Visit them at shop 1211 Leather Street in Breakwater. Phone them on 035 222 2244 or visit their website at www.cyrilcookflorist.com.au and use the offer code GOCATS in the voucher field at checkout to get 20% off your next online purchase.
Thank you, Cyril Cook Florist, as always, for your ongoing support of the Hoops Crew and all we get up to. Now, let's jump over to some footage here. I've grabbed it, courtesy of Twitter, and it is, you can see the quote at the top there, but just listen to the way Ross delivers it, because it's just ridiculous. Also, good job, Nate Dogg Darkness there. Saints love the bottom eight, 100%. That's where they seem to know how to live these days. But anyway, let's listen to what he said, because it's the way he said it that was just ridiculous.
I'm a little bit concerned. They're chock full of talent, aren't they? The AFL Nepo baby. But
and you can see Sarah Jones in her reaction. Now, insane, wildly stupid behavior. And I'm shocked that he would fall into the trap of I know he's going for a joke, and I'm okay with jokes. I make jokes. I deliver good jokes, and I make a mockery of other clubs all the time, and it's good fun. But geez, how do you think that's going to go down with AFL House? They're not going to like the idea that you're suggesting that any success that Gold Coast have is bought and paid for. Now, of course, there's a degree of it. Gold Coast were an AFL construct. AFL wanted to inject themselves into Queensland, Northern Queensland, and New South Wales, and that's where the Giants and the Suns came from. And they've certainly gotten a lot of handouts over the years because they needed the support, because they're in markets that are less AFL. I guess they favour AFL less. There's the obvious parts of it. But the reason their team is growing is because they've poached players from opposition clubs. They've drafted well. They went down a very different path to what the Giants did when they first started, and it kind of blew up in their face. But they course corrected, and they've really honed in on the draft and some really astute selections in the last 5 to 6 years in particular that have led to a team that is now really, really strong. And certainly some high-end first-round picks due to ongoing failures helps them in that respect as well. But that's not a guarantee of anything either. They have brought in really talented players. They've gone and cherry-picked individuals from other clubs who've worked out really well. I think, Rioli, for example, is obviously a more recent one. And they're now starting to find success. And they came down to Marvel Stadium and they smacked the Saints around on their home deck for a while. The Saints, to their credit, kind of came back and made the score a bit of a more respectable one at the end there. But they flexed their muscle and they showed that they're a team that's worth fearing this year. So Dimmer Hardwick, who I don't necessarily have a great deal of love for, I think he can kind of act like a bit of a bellend from time to time. And certainly, as you know, he was the coach of the Richmond team who knocked us out of prelims in 17 and 19, and and beat us in the 2020 grand final, there's also a little bit of, I guess, bias there towards him. Dimmer was asked about what Ross Lyon had to say after the game. And I think to his great credit, he spoke really well about this and absolutely nailed Ross to the wall. So we're going to jump across here. We're going to change our screen sharing and we'll get that going in a second here. And we'll listen to what Dimmer had to say about it. And again, the headline is there already. Is, St Kilda should do his focus on their own backyard. But he spoke really well, and I really liked what he said, because it's an attitude that I'd like to see more individuals in this business consider and potentially applying themselves.
Just stepping back to that tactical battle before, Ross made the comment before the game and referred to Gold Coast as the AFL Nepo baby.
Nepo baby.
Nepo baby, yeah. How do you feel about that?
Oh, it's a little bit disrespectful, I think.
Yes.
Trust me, I've been at Richmond and then I've come to the Gold Coast. We don't get a lot. What probably St Kilda should do is just make sure they focus on their own backyard instead of trying to bring everyone else down. Yeah, at 13,000 people here today. We'll just focus on Gold Coast. They should focus on themselves. End of the day, first person or first place you need to look is Intrim. So focus on them, we'll focus on us.
And he absolutely nails it here. Like, if you are going to, and I don't really like the idea of taking pot shots anyway, but if you're going to sit there and throw shots, throw comments, take the piss out of another club, you better have your own affairs in order. And St Kilda have proven time and time again over decades that they do not have their own affairs in order. They can't get their own garden right before they start criticising others. And so, Ross Lyon, I hope you heard that, and I hope you took the feedback of that. I don't have a lot of love for Dimmer, but he's 100% correct. There's not many clubs in this competition who you could genuinely sit back and say, on field and off, they have got it right. Fortunately, our football club here, the Hoops Crew, Geelong, we're one of those clubs. Sydney have been doing it for a long time. Hawthorn are pretty good at it. I don't like admitting it. Hawthorn are pretty good at it. Richmond have seemed to have found it. The Bulldogs are doing a pretty good job in a lot of areas. They've got some other areas that aren't going so well, but St Kilda is not one of those clubs. They have struggled off field and they've struggled on field, and they've been mediocre for a long time. They obviously had their prominent rise. A window where they were really dominant between 2004 when they blew up in that year and made it to a prelim, all the way through to 2010 with the grand final there, 2011. I can't remember how they performed the following year. I think they fell off a bit at that point. Like, this is a football club that's been irrelevant for 14 plus years now and has not done much before all that either, and got close and got a bit unlucky in 2010 as well, but has come close so many times. You can't sit there and take shots at other clubs when you haven't got your own affairs in order. So, Ross, shut your mouth. It was a joke that I know that you're going for a joke. It didn't land. So maybe just think about it. It feels like you've been planning that one and you didn't deliver it. You didn't consider it right. And I hope that AFL House gets in touch. And sorry, again, I'm recording this while I'm still a little bit, snappy about it and kind of keen to go and ready to go about it. I hope that AFL House gets in touch and you get a please explain. You're not going to get a fine or anything like that, and you shouldn't. But you get a proper slap on the wrist, get a little bit of a talking to, and that a few people over the course of the week remind you that your club has gone nowhere, has been doing nothing, that you're trying to throw $17 million out for a ruckman, that you've reached out to countless other players and thrown big bucks around, and no one's wanted to go to your club. That's why you're no good. That's why you haven't been any good. Because you haven't been an appealing prospect. Gold Coast are. And will continue to be now probably for a few years. So maybe just focus on winning in the meantime, mate. That's where we'll wrap things up for Nuff of the Week this week. Thank you very much for checking it out. If you enjoyed this video, please consider subscribing to our YouTube channel, like this video, share it with your friends and family, and engage in these conversations around big hitting topics in the AFL. Keen to have you on board. If you like what we do, consider checking out our Patreon as well. You can subscribe for a 7-day free trial period and get all of our early access, extended and exclusive content delivered directly to your email inbox. Once that 7 days is up, it only costs $5 per month to continue the subscription and continue to get that stuff delivered to your emails. Thank you in advance. In terms of socials, you'll find me at Paul James Games on Instagram, Blue Sky, and Twitter. The Hoops Crew is at the Hoops Crew. And until next time, remain Geelong strong, everyone. Ross Lyon, you're a bit of a nuff. Thanks a lot for watching, and I'll see you later.